What's going on, everyone? You are listening to WSOU. I am Nick, and I'm here with a very, very special guest. I am here with Joel from Airbourne. How are you doing today, Joel?
I'm good, thanks, mate. And how about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. As you said, you're in New York looking out at I guess you could say it's a nice, brisk fall day.
Yeah, over Manhattan here, it's quite good to come all the way from Melbourne and see Manhattan, from Melbourne to Manhattan. There you go.
It's a far trip, for sure. Just a little.
Yeah.
But you have a lot going on. You're over here, you're playing shows and promotion of the new albums. So talk to me about this one. This is the fourth one you guys put out, Breaking Out of Hell. Tell me a little bit about what went into this one.
Well, into this one, basically, we wanted to strip it back a little bit, get a bit more edge on the tape, and that was for the sonically, and the aesthetics of it was to really capture that edge and energy. And, and then with the songs, we wanted to sort of really capture stories from the road and really go a bit deeper into, we drink a lot and stuff, and, we wanted to actually remember some of our nights on the town and write about them, and that was on that side of thing. And then there's songs like Never Too Loud for Me and Rivalry, which are about, the small live music venue versus the big apartment block that got built next door and the neighbours complaining, all that classic scenario. And then, we wanted to just capture a lot. We wrote a song about Lemmy, which is a salute to Lemmy. It's the song called "It's All for Rock and Roll," and because he meant a real lot to us, and he helped us out a lot. He's in our first video, Running Wild, and he put us on a lot of tours with Motorhead, and when we'd see Motorhead on festivals all the time when we were in Europe, and we'd always see the big Motorhead logo there, and you'd always like, today's going to be a good day no matter what, because at some point we're going to see Motorhead. and now it's not like there's another band there, it's just a big hole, But so we wanted to capture a lot of what, of who we are and really dig a little deeper and give everybody a non-stop rock and roll record.
That's awesome. That's what it's all about. Now, what's your favorite Lemmy memory? I'm sure you have a bunch.
My favourite would have to be when he came down to do the Running Wild video, and he was there in the limo, and he didn't want to be paid. He just said, just have the limo pick me up, at the Rainbow, and drop me back when you're done with me, and 2 bottles of Jack.
That's awesome.
That's all he wanted, and 4 litres of Coke, I think, as well to blend, and lots of ice. And so we. I remember we were standing there. We'd finished our, shooting in the back of the truck, and then and down comes the window of the limo, and then you can hear ZZ Top blasting out, and this hand comes out with a cigarette, ashes on the road, and then you hear this, "Hey boys, come over here." So we come over, and he says, "My name's Lemmy," and we go, "Oh, well, we know," we go, "Okay, Lemmy, I'm Joel, this is Ryan," and then he goes, "Come inside, and we'll have a few jacks, have a few drinks, and we'll listen to some ZZ Top." So we came in, and sure enough, we listened to ZZ Top, and then we listened to some Motorhead demos that were going to come out on Motorizer, and then he just basically gave us about 2 hours of advice of how to be in the band, and how to tour the world, and stay true to yourselves, and what we're about to face as a young band. And he really took us under his wing. And we're forever thankful, because the things he told us is what we stick to today.
That's awesome. And especially because at that point, you guys really were brand new, so the fact that he took all the time to do that is really awesome.
It's amazing, and I still pinch myself for it, and I still can't believe it, because we hadn't even released a record yet, you know what I mean? He'd only just heard us because we'd sent a few tracks to him, and he said, I'll get into that. And we were like, oh my God, that's the most amazing thing.
That's awesome. Now, that's the other thing, too, is you guys have been around for almost 10 years now. It's incredible to think, that much time has gone by already.
Yeah, it really is, mate. It's time flies when you're having fun, but it's one of those things. In rock and roll, it's kind of that Peter Pan thing. You're still, I'm still wearing the same jeans pretty much I wore back then.
That's pretty funny. Because that's the thing, is that the first song I heard from you guys was Running Wild. It was in one of the NASCAR video games, and that's how I found out who you guys were, was right when you guys started. So I'm glad I caught you right there at the beginning, got to ride the whole thing out with you so far.
Oh, that's awesome, mate. Yeah. That's rocking.
Yeah, so I'm sure, did that do a lot for you to have the songs in games like that?
It sure did. The gaming market was quite different back then than it is today, and it exploded, that market for games. It was kind of like it was the new radio.
Right.
So we ended up on Madden, NASCAR. I think we were on one of the FIFAs, and just almost any game you could think of that was good and had sport attached to it and had a good intensity to it. We were on Guitar Hero a bunch of times, I think.
Right, yeah.
And it's funny. Well, I remember having Christmas one time at home, and my cousins had come over. This is a few years back, and they had Guitar Hero, and they were all really, really good at it. And they go, "Come on, Joel, challenge us in Guitar Hero." And you're like, "Oh, I can't play this." and my 6-year-old cousin kicked the hell out of me in Too Much Sound Too Fast. I couldn't even play it. And the funny thing was, Too Much Sound Too Fast was in the beginning section, and I couldn't even play it. And he's just nailing it. And then he goes on to nail some Judas Priest solo, and I'm going, I got no chance, man. I've got no chance.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Now, with the live aspect of the show, because you're on tour right now with the new album, how are you guys balancing out, new stuff compared to the old stuff? Are you still keeping a lot of the older stuff, or are you starting, as you put more stuff out, to focus on newer stuff? What we got?
Yeah, basically, the last thing you said, we're basically, because look, this is our first time being back here in North America, Canada, USA. Like, it's, we've got to put some of the older stuff back in, right, because just the fact that we haven't toured here enough, which is something that's about to change, because we're different agents now, everything's all different, so we're going to be back here again for 2 more cycles, I think. Okay. But we're giving everybody the set, that we're sort of thinking, okay, let's give them a bit from this album and this album and this album. We're only playing 2 songs off the new record at the moment. But once we head back to Europe, we'll be adding in more. And then by the time we come back, it'll be a heavily loaded new album set, along with stuff off our other records. We've already sort of worked out what we think the set should be, but again, it's up to the fans. When we get out and play live and we get the feedback straight away from a song, we know straight away whether we should keep playing it or not. Because like last night, we were playing Rivalry, and at the beginning of that song, there's a bunch of whirls, and we haven't been doing them live. We've just been letting see if the crowd do them, and last night they were really, really loud, so we know things like that. When the crowd and the fans think for themselves and they just start doing it, that creates that band and fan as one thing. It's kind of like we're all in the same band together. Right. And that's what we look for every live show. We try and that's our goal, is it's never just there's fans and a band. It's all together. That comes down to, it's all for rock and roll. Because when they start jamming with us by singing the parts of the songs, and when we play off it, we will extend it. We'll play for longer. If they're having a good time, we'll keep playing, and Ryan will give us the count for 1, 2, 3, 4 when we want to go back into the next bit. And that's what makes a good live song.
Oh, for sure. Now, since you guys have been around a little bit longer, like you said, are you toning things down a little bit, like life on the road? Because like you mentioned, you said you wanted to kind of remember some things more to be able to write songs about it.
Oh yeah, it's all acoustics now, and it's all look, basically, it's when you get a day off, you're really tired on, because you might do 4 or 5 shows in a row or something, and you're just looking for that day off. So you go out and you get plastered, because it's what you got to do to take the edge off. It's never just one drink, You've really got to get out there and get into it to sort of reset yourself for the next run. But no, I think it's just to remember things on the spot. Even if you haven't, just to put it in your phone, just type it in or sing it into your phone, a little melody or something. Just keep a record of it, and that's the good thing about iPhones and stuff, is you can just go straight, oh, here we go, idea for a song, bang bang, and then put it in, and then when you wake up the next day hungover or whatever, you can go, all right, now I'll get to work on it.
Right. And now, like you said, it's been a while since you've really gotten into the States. Now, I've always wondered, as an Australian band, how is, especially maybe now it's a little bit easier with the status of the band, but like, especially when you started out, how was trying to, get into the American markets and the European markets, for being from Australia? I feel like that must be really difficult.
Yeah, well, it's a big pond, that Indian Ocean, Pacific Ocean.
Oh, yeah.
It's huge. And once you get here, though, we have a saying, go hard or go home in Australia. So once we get on the ground, we go hard, and we give, the show we give is 100%. We never say 110% because there's no such thing. You either give your all or that's it. So we give you absolutely everything we got. We treat every show like it's our last, and we do it night after night. And that's one of the things I think that you do as an Australian band, or anyone who's come from a long way away, is you go, look, we've come this far, let's push it as hard as we can. So, I mean, Europe was it just caught fire over there. It just kept going and going and going and going, and we're always in demand, and we're always playing. In the US, right, you have to think of it like the saloon, the classic saloon. The gunslinger walks in through those big double doors, and everybody looks at him and goes, what do you got, And then it's kind of like you feel like you've just walked into someone else's, battle or something, and you sort of go in and you go, you got to draw your guns and you got to shoot. So it's you're up against it here in the US, but it's working, and it's I think it's definitely working more on this record than it was on the others. I think just because we've been hammering away at it for so long that people are starting to get it.
Right. Now, do you think it's a challenge that, like you said, it's hard to, like you haven't been able to do, it's been a while since you've been to the States, and like you said, you're going to get a couple of cycles out of this album.
Yep.
But, how do you feel that you guys still have such a big presence and fan base, where a lot of bands are able to, maybe hit the same area in the States maybe 3 times a year, and you haven't done it in a while, but yet you still have, that big fan presence? That must, show a lot to you about what you guys are doing, that you're doing something right.
Yeah, well, what we've found is, in the world, and we've done this for 10 years now since we were quite young, so, I mean, we've been able to see the changes in personalities and how people are. And the one thing that is the constant throughout the entire world is rock and roll is a universal language, and people want to rock.
Oh, yeah.
So when we get to when we get to the US, and we're getting out there again, and we're going around and around, as we're finding that there's a lot of passion. They're just like, I don't know if I can swear on your radio because I can't really say what they say, but they're just like, yeah, man, this is awesome, and they just, you guys kick ass, and they're just like really pumped up, and they always say, thank you so much for coming all this way, to Minneapolis or, wherever we've been. Detroit was one where they were like, thank you so much for coming. We don't get to see much bands that come through here and put on a show like that just, give it. And we go, look, man, it's the audience. That's, you guys turn up, you want to rock, and you pull it out of us, and we just give you everything we got. So we find people really want to rock, and they want to rock more than they did 10 years ago, it seems. It seems like people are just like, they just want to rock, and that's what we're here to give them.
That's always a good thing to know.
Yeah.
Now, another thing is, what is it about the Australian scene? Like, you guys really have something going on down there with the rock and the metal world. I found it very interesting because of, you think of Australia, and for me, it's one of the things that comes to mind, but I don't think a lot of people, maybe music is what comes to mind. So what is it about the Australian scene?
Well, Australia is, I think even Dave Grohl actually said this. It's particularly Melbourne. It's one of the toughest audiences in the world to play to.
Right.
And it really is, because in Australia, we're not a very big country, but what we do have is a lot of influence from the UK and from the US musically. And basically in Australia, we take, well, this is how Aussie pub rock was born, was the simplest parts of each, bit of blues, and it's like The Who, ZZ Top, and Chuck Berry, and put them all together with a bit of free, and you get kind of an Aussie pub rock sound. But the current scene in Australia, it's pretty tough, to get a gig because there's not a lot of places because we have a government that doesn't really stand up for live venues. It allows them to be knocked down and build apartment blocks in it, and it's getting worse. Our radio stations at home, it's tough to get on them too, and there's only 2 that do the country. And when you don't have any of that support, you really got to focus on what you do, and you've just got to tour hard in a van, and you've got to go around this country. And it's long drives. It's like 12 hours to each gig, unless you stop in the middle and play, somewhere.
Right.
But in Australia, it teaches you to be all about what you're doing. It's not for the chicks or anything like that. You got to do it to survive. You need to play these shows to put fuel in the tank, money for guitar strings, and get to the next gig. Like it teaches you. It's like a baptism by fire. So when you do go to Europe and you're playing shows and there's all these people singing your songs and you're going, wow, this is kind of easy. People, you think it's easy because you just toured one of the hardest places in the world, which is
sure.
Yeah. So. That's what it is about Australian bands. Is we all at some point when we get into tour Australia, we always go, all right, we got to be all about this, and we got to stick together as a band. We've got to be a band of brothers, and a lot of Australian bands are like that. Like if you take any band that's come out of Australia, like In Excess or Midnight Oil, all good mates, and all toured together and bled together, and there's the bands come out of Australia like Parkway Drive, like they're pretty heavy and stuff, like there's. Yeah.
That was funny. I actually just saw Parkway Drive on Friday night. They're doing some touring around here.
Yeah, they're a great bunch of guys. A great bunch of guys, and they're just down to earth, and they've been doing it for a while. It's that Aussie thing: go hard or go home. They know that's what I'm pretty sure they live by the same thing.
Exactly. So I'm sure being from there and having to deal with that scene, it definitely really helped you cut your teeth and figure out what you had to do and really push it.
Yeah, and it really simplifies what you do, and it teaches you to be all about it. You never you don't really find bands that come out of Australia that have a whole different bunch of styles within the band, or they'll really change their albums a lot. Like it seems like once you get your mission statement, you stick to that.
Right.
And you might diversify a little bit, but it stays on the core.
Right. And now I want to get your opinion, because another big band out of Australia, which I know has been had a little tongue tie there, had a lot of influence on you guys, AC/DC. What's your kind of thoughts about what's going on with them right now? I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, so basically, to me, so they went out on this tour, Rock or Bust, and they tracked the album with Stevie.
Right.
With Stevie on guitar. So this is the first album Angus has done without his brother, and I'm in a band with my brother, and I couldn't imagine doing that. Those guys have held that band together since, they were kids. Right. And then, he's out there for the first time. Angus, big balls on him, you know what I mean? Like, and then he's going to go on the road. And then just before they go on the tour, the big tour, Phil gets caught up with some legal stuff in New Zealand, so he can't actually leave New Zealand, so they've got to get Chris Slade back.
Right.
So this is just before the tour, what 1 day rehearsal and tour, the guys are up against it. And then, then Brian, he hurts his ear from racing cars, which then leads to damage playing live, so he has to step away. And Angus, big balls, just goes, no, it's rock or bust, and we're not going bust. We're gonna rock. And then Cliff's retired. So, right. I mean, to me, I think I take my hat off to Angus's bravery. I think it's just so how brave he is to go out and do that and just keep rocking. I know he really loves playing for the fans, and he just loves playing for me. And people love to watch him play. He's a phenomenal blues and rock and roll player.
Oh, for sure.
And I mean, I don't know what's going to happen now. They might just take a couple of years off, and they could do a farewell tour, if they put the whole band back together, or whatever the next thing is. But with Axl out the front, I heard. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see any of the shows, but right. The reports back were people saying from diehard AC/DC fans were saying, like he sang the songs well, and when the speakers are all blasting and it's loud as hell, Axel can really wail. So I mean, they didn't go bust. And I think with a band like AC/DC, they're going to rock, and that's what they did. So, I mean, we'll see what happens next.
For sure, because they were definitely one of the bands that really got me into it. And then, you guys came along and also had a lot of the same kind of texture that they did, so it kind of helped me get into you guys. And so I always had that, you guys are kind of in that same boat, because it's crazy the parallels. You both, have the Australian side, the brothers.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yep, yeah, no, there's quite a number of parallels there.
That's all I've got. Is there anything you want to add wrapping up?
No, dude, man, it was great to talk to you. And keep rocking out there in the radio world. And, we look forward to, whereabouts are you based?
We are actually not too far from where you are right now. We're in New Jersey, probably 45 minutes max away from where you are right now.
It's where Springsteen's from.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever seen Springsteen in New Jersey?
I got to see him actually this summer for the first time.
Man,
it was incredible.
Yeah, I'm a diehard fan. He's coming out to Australia. It'll be the 6th time I've seen him when he gets out there, and I can't wait for it.
Okay, you gonna read his book?
Yeah, that's every time I get a day off, I get on my Google map and I type in bookstore and see where the nearest one is. I try and go to see if I can get it. I need to get one of those big bookstores, and I want to get it. Yeah, I know. I need to. It's a good. That looks like a good book to read. Yeah. And your tour bus, in the bunk.
He's a good storyteller.
No, he's a legend.
All right. Well, that's all I got for you.
All right, man. Well, good to talk to you.
Of course, man. I had a great time. I'll have to catch you guys next time you're back around here.
Absolutely. We'll be back next year sometime.
Sounds good.
All right, man. Keep rocking in the free world, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, cool. Have a great day.
Cheers, mate. You too.